How's it going, guys? My name is Ishaan, and in this video we're going to be doing a technical analysis for GameStop stock. Yesterday we covered the massive drop that GameStop had, and so today we're going to be covering a lot of things that are actually starting to look bullish for the stock. But as I mentioned even in yesterday's video, is that I actually believe there's potential maybe for even more downside than upside. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, so make sure you're careful and really understand the technicals that I'm going to be telling you, because technical analysis can really help you make smart and better informed decisions for when you're buying and selling, and it will really give you a better idea of where the stock is heading and trends to look for before you make a massive decision. With that being said, if you appreciate this value-packed video, make sure to drop a quick sub and a like, and let me know down below what you think about GameStop stock. And with that being said, we're also going to be doing a quick technical analysis for AMC stock as well after GameStop. So the first thing right off the bat that we can see forming with GameStop stock is that it's forming a flat triangle. If I draw in the lines right over here, we can see that the stock is forming a triangle. As we can see, when I zoom in, the stock is getting tighter and tighter and tighter in this range. And essentially what a triangle is that it indicates that there's potential for a squeeze higher or a squeeze lower. Since this is a flat triangle and not an ascending triangle or descending triangle, it's kind of hard to predict which way the stock will go. And that's kind of the whole story with the stock as of now. It's kind of hard to predict where it's going to go because there's been a lot of volatility. It's been going up, down massively. And so we can see that reflecting with the indecision as the stock is forming this flat triangle, and it seems like either tomorrow or on Friday the stock will either have the potential to squeeze higher or squeeze lower. Another key thing which we talked about yesterday was that the stock had to hold this $70 level, because this was a level where it bounced right over here and where it bounced right over here in the past. So today it continued to stay above that $75 level, $73 level, which again is a super bullish sign. And another thing that we see forming is that the 9 EMA is starting to cross above the 21 EMA. The 9 EMA is this blue line, and the purple line is the 21 EMA. So when the 9 EMA, which is the blue line, crosses above the 21 EMA, that is a sign of a reversal. As we see right over here, if I zoom in right over here when it was in the early stages of the rally, we can see how the 9 EMA, which is the blue line, crossed above the 21 EMA, and as a result the stock pushed up massively. But now if we look closely at what's happening, the 21 EMA is slowly flattening out and starting to point up and starting to cross above the 21 EMA. If we can get a clear break, that will be an early indicator that the stock is going to reverse, and you can usually catch many of the trends using these EMA crosses, and that's why I love using the 9 EMA and 21 EMA to spot the trends. And by the way, we cover all of this in the Gen Z Trader Academy, which has over 5 hours of no fluff trading videos that covers everything you need to know about technicals and fundamentals and how to spot these kind of things and then use them to increase the profitability in your trades and make a lot more money. As we can see, there are a lot of things that are actually pointing towards a reversal. It's holding the $75 support. The EMA lines look like they're about to cross, and overall, the MACD, which we can see down here, we got a MACD cross with the MACD line crossing above the signal line. And again, the RSI has dropped down quite a bit as well on the 1 month chart. But again, there are two big risks that you need to watch out for. First, we need to keep watching to see if it can continue to hold the $75 level, because if it breaks below it, this stock will be heading to 50. The second thing is that a lot of people are down a lot of money, and so the fact of the matter is that many of those people might end up selling and dumping the stock, and as a result adding more fuel to the selling pressure. Now, as for my price target, which I highlighted yesterday, I think it's still intact, which is this $220 level. As we can see the stock gap down. You can see this giant gap right over here, and I even have an arrow pointing to it around this $220 level. And as you'll see in many stocks, the stocks usually try to fill their gaps. As we can see with GameStop in the past right over here, it gapped up from 152 all the way to about 290. And what happened when the stock fell? It it filled the gap. It filled the gap right over here when it ended up dipping and filling the gap. And so if we can get buying pressure stepping up and squeeze above these major resistances that we're facing, and as we can see, the triangle is forming, so there are a lot of bullish signs forming for the stock. And as a result, I could see the stock squeezing all the way up to 220 where it fills that gap. But not only that, if we notice the $220 level, it's also a previous level of support. It found support right over here, it found support right over here. So what you'll notice in a lot of stocks is that they love to turn previous support into resistance. And so not only will it fill that gap, but it'll also be turning that previous support into resistance. Now, as for a quick technical analysis for AMC, we got some support around this $7 level. We got resistance, if I draw it in, right around the $16 level, and so the stock has dropped quite a bit. Similar to GameStop, the stock also gapped down from 13 all the way to about 9, and now it's at 8.7. But interesting to note is that it looks like AMC is actually forming an ascending triangle. If I draw in the lines and zoom in more carefully, we can see the stock is forming an ascending triangle. We have this horizontal resistance line at about the $10 level, and we're forming higher lows with this diagonal line, indicating a bullish triangle forming. And in this case, there's a lot of potential for the stock again to squeeze up. Usually these ascending triangles are signs of a squeeze higher because it shows that buyers are stepping up, and even though sellers are holding this level, it shows that buyers are stepping up and slowly pushing and tightening the range. And usually what will happen is that the stock will squeeze higher. And so like GameStop, if the stock does squeeze higher, I could see the stock again heading to about this $13 level where it fills this gap in this area, or if not, it could potentially even head up all the way to 16 where it gets resistance in this area where it's had resistance in the past, like over here, and over here. If we fail to break this $10 level, which again, $10, these whole numbers like 10, 20, these are all psychological numbers. And so a lot of people tend to have a lot of their short positions over there. A lot of buyers try to squeeze above these whole levels because a lot of shorts like to sell at these whole number levels. And so if we, let's say, fail to break this, the stock is probably going to head down back to 7. And if it breaks 7, we're probably going to head below and all the way down to about $4, and where it had previous support in this area way back in November over here. The common thing though amongst all these stocks is that the volume is somewhat drying up. Like as we see over here, the volume was massive. Similar to GameStop, the volume was massive, but the whole Robinhood situation has really dried up the volume, and there hasn't been a lot of buying pressure. But if we start to see those things resuming, that could add even more fuel to these stocks and push them higher. With that being said, be sure to check out the Gen Z Trader Academy if you want to learn technical analysis and support the channel, and be sure to like and subscribe and let me know down below whether you're buying or if you're waiting on the sidelines and ready to buy and pounce once you start to see the technicals line up. With that being said, take it easy, clocking out for now. Peace.